Evening. The rebel leader. The sun is setting. The blood-red sky quavers in the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. You cannot help but recall a passage from the lives of the twins, one of the many pages Mother used to quote when you were a child. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Could this passage be referring to today? You lead your followers to Empire Square. You walk around the rubble, past abandoned carriages and unfinished barricades. There have clearly been clashes here recently. The dust of the departed is still rising into the sky. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery, well over half the commoners of Enezote. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officials either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumors and gossip reach your ears as you move closer. Did you hear what happened at the Great Tree? It's the Inquisitors! They just started slaughtering folks. They grabbed them swords of theirs and started killing unarmed people. Then our procession made it to the temple. There was a sign from the twins. All lies! The twins got angry and destroyed them under the tree. The temple's gone, I tell you. It's gone for good. The crowd is on edge. Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from the Chancellery stairs calls for another People's Court. The mob turns as one. Who the heck are you? Several last-straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out onto the steps and force them to their knees. The leader of the executioners is a preacher with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. The younger he speaks through us. He does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. People, it's time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? The mob roars so loudly the square shakes. Death! True death! The last straw rebels ready their guns. One of the captives gets to his feet and speaks out defiantly. You dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power, you never have, and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? We'll come back and we'll make you pay. The aged nobleman's last words are drowned out by a thunderous volley of gunfire. One by one, the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. The mob gasps in amazement. There can be no doubt. The People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. Well then. Mob rule, eh? This is what will happen to anyone who dares oppose us. All hail the revolt. All hail our leader. All hail Sophia! Sophia's gonna lead us. She's gonna fend off the Legion. She's gonna bring justice. First to Enezote, then to the whole Empire. She's gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. The mob explodes into an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia. Sophia. The enormous throng bellows wildly, eager to see the face of its leader. Can't take control of the revolt because Sophia is leading the revolt. Can't break up the mob because we are not a defender of the Empire. Can't destroy their morale because we are a rebel. Can't watch what happens next because we are a rebel. We can unite the rebels around Sophia, which would get some power. The revolt would get some power. We'd get more troops, more common folk. It would take some willpower, and Sophia would like it. Do not get involved. Just, some power for the revolt and some willpower. Or overthrow Sophia. Let's see. Overthrow Sophia. I would lead the revolts. The revolt would lose some strength as a result. And troops. We're currently at 7. Rebels are winning if they are at, 6 through 8. Because I'm just concerned. Let's look at the destinies. So if we defend the city, we can by leading the revolt and just that seems pretty simple. I mean, Sophia's already there. The issue is, Sophia would cause a massacre if she won this, which I don't want for my province. But then again, we might not be able to win without her. I don't know how many more events we've got until the final showdown. It wouldn't be that bad. We would only need to get one more revolt to win. I say we overthrow Sophia. We do not want a massacre. We want to win this, and we want a decent, governing power and force at the other side of this. Not, a terror. You make your way through the crowd and reach the Chancellery stairs. Your silhouette seems to blaze in the light of the setting sun. You raise a clenched fist into the air, demanding silence. Your voice booming, you make your proclamation. Sophia is no longer the leader of the revolt. I, Brian Brante, lead you now. The people freeze in astonishment when they hear this. A murmur of discontent spreads throughout the crowded square. Who does this Brante guy think he is? We follow Sophia, not you! Discontent grows, but you refuse to relent. Sophia was leading our city to destruction, slaughter, and death. Had she remained in charge, it would have meant suffering for us all. You are gathered here not to revel in revenge or destruction. For the first time in history, you have what it takes to lay the foundations of a new world. A world where justice is the same for all. Where all states are equal. Where we are free of the lots. You will defend this city. You will fend off the Legion. You will persevere and show the Empire that you are a force to be reckoned with. And once they finally realize that they have no choice but to reckon with you, they will reckon with all the commoners of the Empire. You end your speech, exhausted and hoarse. The murmur fades away. All fear and uncertainty are gone. The thousands of people in the square are no longer suspicious of you. They're hopeful. Once more, you can see it in their eyes. Then come the first shouts. Lead us, Brante! We're right behind you. Brante! Brian Brante! Suddenly, a loud, shrill cry resounds behind you, cutting through the cheers. Traitor! Death to the traitor, Brante! Oh, I forgot she could do magic. The crowd falls silent. All eyes are on a figure descending the Chancellery stairs. Twin sepia flames smolder in the young woman's eyes. Brante is lying to you, people. If you follow him, you'll be slaves until the end of time. Don't you know that our enemy can't be bargained with? First they'll throw us a bone, just to restore order, and then they'll get even, stronger, and tighten the noose around our necks. We can't reason with them. We have to destroy them. Today is the first day of a new era. We will begin by taking back our city. We will eliminate anyone who dares stand in our way. Then we will declare war against the old regime, against the entire empire. No mercy! Upon hearing these words, even the most fanatic rebels fall silent. A frightened murmur ripples through the crowd. Is Sophia asking them to take on the entire world? She does have a bit of a sort of Napoleon sort of vibe. Sophia raises her arms skyward. Her eyes are like two blazing suns. Anyone who turns tail and runs is an enemy of the revolt. Our enemy. The crowd remains silent, transfixed by Sophia's glowing gaze. None will dare to utter a word against her now. This is your last chance to take action before the entire mob turns on you. You take a deep breath and scream at the top of your lungs. She's a witch! It's all witchcraft! Sophia's using magic to control your minds! Incredulous murmurs spread throughout the crowd. You shout as loud as you can. Sophia is just as much of a tyrant as those she wants you to overthrow. She'll take away your old shackles and replace them with magical ones. She doesn't care about the people. She only wants one thing. To watch the world burn. The thousands of eyes around you no longer reflect Sophia's golden glow. Confusion spreads among the people. Who should they listen to? Then the shouts begin. Burn the lying witch! She wants us all dead! Desperate for support, Sophia glances back at her gang. Enough of this! Kill Brante and his lapdogs! The time for words has passed. The last straw soldiers reach for their guns. But you are already shouting orders. Your battalions advance on them. The mob is split by the ensuing chaos. Some commoners defend Sophia's cause, while others side with you. More still flee the squares as fast as their legs can carry them. The last straw! Ready! Aim! Fire! Rebel squads dash out of the chancellery, firearms in hand. The volleys come in quick succession. A hail of bullets hits the square, sparing no one from either side. Commoners trying to escape die along with your soldiers. Dozens of people fall to the ground in the mindless, jostling throng, only to be trampled by the fleeing horde. Blood runs down the cobblestones. The corpses of those killed dissipate in shimmering mist. The battle is a short one. The firearms hold back your assaults, the enemy's bullets taking your men out one by one. But you outflank Sophia's forces and engage them in hand-to-hand combat. The surviving insurgents drop their weapons and beg you not to execute them. They're willing to fight on your side and hand their leader over to you. Sophia is quickly bound and hurled to the ground at your feet. The rebel leader glares at you from behind a mass of tangled hair. You remind the wounded soldiers that time is of the essence. You must dispose of Sophia for good. The time has come for the people's courts. You command your squad to stand Sophia against the wall of the chancellery and take aim. Sophia scrambles to her feet with difficulty. Her face is a hideous mask of bruises. Too bad it took me so long to figure out what you really are, Brante. Too bad. But this ain't over yet. Before you know it, you'll be burning in the fire I started. You and this whole ugly world. Bitter tears run down Sophia's cheeks. For a split second, you see the frightened girl from next door, pursued by terrifying horsemen. You cut Sophia off and address what remains of the mob. It is time for Sophia to stand trial. They will judge her in the name of the people of Anazote. This woman was plotting to destroy the city and start a bloodbath that would doom us all, commoners and the other estates alike. For the sake of the people, Sophia must be sentenced to true death. People of Anazote, what say you? Death! A volley of gunshots. Sophia is hurled against the wall. Shaking violently, she collapses to the ground. Her eyes, which had shone with a livid yellow glow just moments ago, are extinguished forever. The soldiers slowly lower their firearms. You turn to the silent crowd. The verdict of the People's Court has been carried out. The citizens have saved Anazote from death and destruction. Tonight, we must also save it from the Legion. We will no longer be led by Sophia's blind hatred. We will stand firm. We know what we are fighting for. You see hope return to the faces of the disconcerted people. They were shaken by Sophia's death, but you showed them a new goal, and they have cast their firearms aside. Or their fears aside, not their firearms. We'll need those later. Lead us, Brante! Even the old guard of the last straw, who have always been loyal to Sophia, will follow you. The Revolt City has accepted you as its new leader. Okay, and Sophia's been executed. Meanwhile, the watchmen at the gate bring news. The Legion is only a few hours away. The final battle is drawing near. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions you take in the coming hours. Okay, so revolution's down to stalemate territory. That happens with infighting. We've got a regiment. We will want to bolster our numbers, but removing an unstable person from the head of our organization, I believe, was the right call. We are leading the revolt. Hearth and home. This event is a consequence of your previous actions, because the revolt is above 1 and the family is in the city. Okay. Hello, family. While you are busy preparing, night falls over Anazote. The darkness brings disorder, lawlessness, and chaos. In the dark, madmen, robbers, and looters flood the city. These gangs have no interest in the fate of the Empire or the revolt. They see the uprising as a sign that the end of the world is nigh. If the wrath of the gods is at hand, then everything is permitted. Upon hearing reports of gangs roaming the streets, you sense danger. What is to stop them from attacking your home? Your people may need you, but you will never abandon your family. Taking a squad of loyal men with you, you hurry to your home district. Your instinct proves to be correct. Even before you reach your street, you smell smoke. Sir Tibber's school is ablaze. The old man was hurled out a third-story window and impaled on the sharp spikes of the gate below. Ashes from dozens of burning books blanket the ground like black snow. Thomas's old house lies in ruins. Breathless, you run up the street. Your men can barely keep up with you. You hope you're not too late. You're on the last turn. There it is, the gate of your ancestral home. You see dozens of figures approaching by the lights of the burning houses. The thugs are close. Too close. You run through the gate and into the house. Your men stay to guard the outside. You hastily open the door. Your father is on the doorstep, sword in hand. He recognizes you and lets out a sigh of relief. It's you, Brian. I'm so glad you're here. The bastards have burned down half the district, and they're on their way here. He is cut short. The living room window is shattered. A torch lands on the floor. You quickly stamp out the flames. A battle is in full swing in the front yard. A massive crowd is furiously attacking your soldiers, without any regard for their own safety. The looters are led by a rugged, half-naked old man clad in rags. Horrible scars on his wrists and ankles reveal his past as a convict. He yells frantically in your direction, his shrieks cutting through the din of the fray. The world is coming to an end! We've disobeyed the twins and they're punishing us! There ain't no punishment worse than this, so there ain't nothing to fear! These are our last hours, do whatever you want! The crowd bellows in support of the old man. Your soldiers fall one after another beneath the onslaught of the rabid gang. The twins have damned us all! We have all been damned for your sins, you filthy nobles, you false priests. But before we face our final judgment, we'll do a little punishment of our own. We'll take our revenge on you before we die. Our judgment cometh. The horde crushes your squad's resistance and approaches the house. The stomping of their feet shakes the windows. Your father looks at you in despair. They want to execute us. What do we do, son? Okay. I could die for my home. I don't really want to die is the thing, though. And everyone else would die, so that doesn't really achieve much. Can't kill the leader because Stefan isn't here. Drat. We can't call in the troops because Nathan isn't hopeful. Great. We can't convince them that you're on their side because we don't have the manipulation. And we aren't rebels, as it turns out. So we can subdue the thugs. Which would weaken our revolts, and the common folk wouldn't like us as much. We can fight for our home. Which seems strictly better. Because we don't lose the revolt strength. I am concerned about if we lose the, Alright, so to defend the city we need the common folk at 2. For peace we need the common folk at 3. To defeat the Legion we need it at 3. So we will need to get the common folk back on our side. But, or we can flee alone. Which I'm not gonna leave my family to perish, no. We will fight. Stefan comes out behind you in full battle gear. There's not even a hint of fear or hesitation in his face. Carefully approaching the window, he counts the assailants and smirks. Not too many commoners for a decent swordsman. This is no time for arrogance, Stefan. Instead of congratulating yourself on a victory not yet won, think about how we can defeat them. You are first to answer your father's question. Yes, there is an entire crowd attacking you, but they are mere commoners who have never held a sword before. Once they see true swordsmen, they will yield. They have a lone, maniacal, false preacher leading them. Without him, they will flee. Stefan clenches his fists. Wise words, brother. Father and I are skilled at fighting back to back. No noble and scum will ever get close to us. Father pauses for a moment in contemplation. I've made many a mistake in my life, but I've raised brave sons. You fling the door wide open, ready to meet your assailants face to face. Take him alive! That one there is a Judge Brante. Let's give him a little taste of our judgment right now! The enraged looters attack you. Father takes them down with a few swift lunges, but new thugs immediately take their place. You cannot hold them back for long. Your father and brother are your only hope now. Covering each other's backs, they skillfully fend off the assailants. The enemy outnumbers them, but their training gives them a decisive edge. There are only 3 of them! What are you afraid of, you cowards? The insane preacher elbows his way to the front, a huge torrent of followers in his wake. Spying the leader, you shout, Now! This is your chance. Like a deadly hurricane, you tear through the enemies to reach the old madman. He raises his axe aloft, aiming for Father's head. But Stefan's sword is quicker. He knocks the weapon from the elderly thug's hand. A split second later, he runs his sword straight through the man's throat, with perfect precision. Your elder brother's voice booms above the battle. Run, you bastards! Leave our home and never come back! The mob hesitates. One by one, the looters drop their weapons and flee. You have won. Breathing heavily, you exchange tired glances with your father and brother. You have defended your ancestral home. With a sigh of relief, Father lowers his weapon. Only now do you notice how violently his hands are shaking. Thank the twins. I was so afraid I'd lose you both. Me die at the hands of those pathetic wretches? Not likely, Father. That's not the way you raised us. Well, Brian, I suppose it's a good thing I taught you to put up start rabble in their place back when you were a boy. You cannot stay any longer. The preparations for the decisive battle are not finished. I understand, son. Take care. I hope to see you again soon. And I hope you know what you're up against, Brian. Regardless, good luck, brother. You leave a small squad behind in case of another attack and say your goodbyes, and take off to face your fate. It is almost midnight. Rescued the family. Night. The final hour. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the square, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of a city in the throes of rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gates, where you have set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the Mantle and former members of the Legion who have joined the revolts. The priests who have sided with you will spread the word of the twins from the city walls, attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anazote to be free of the lots. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who have established a foothold in the ruins of Char Melanidis' palace. Soon their fate will be decided. They will crush the revolts with the aid of the Legion. Or will they crush the revolts with the aid of the Legion, or be crushed themselves by the new era? There's almost no time left. Just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favor. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help? Or would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Will you attempt to defeat the Legion and the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anazote is in your hands. Okay, I can muster forces. That gives willpower. We'll go see Elborn. I mean, I've got 10 willpower. That should be enough. It looks like we might be just angling for defense right now, based on what we've got. I've lost the will of the common folk, unfortunately. But we'll see Elborn. Gain some more men. There are many highborn families in Anazote that have not yet responded to Otten's appeal to join the noble militia. They have preferred to lock themselves up in their mansions and avoid waging war against the lowborn. They could still be won over to your side, but you will need help from a high-ranking nobleman. While there is still time, you take a few trusted men and head to the prefecture. Elborn greets you on the stairs, surrounded by gendarmes. He accepts your requests eagerly. You're right, Brante. There are many nobles who are uncertain as to what fate will befall them if the revolt wins. We need to assure them that if we want to gain their support. With the help of the gendarmes, you send out an appeal to the noble houses you consider dependable. Elborn signs the letters to each family personally. Noble sirs, you know me as a man of honor. I have been a loyal servant to the Overseer, but my ultimate duty is to uphold the law and ensure justice for all the estates. The high-handedness of the noble elite and their neglect of their lot, which is to rule the lowly estate with care and wisdom, has led the people of Anazote to the brink of despair. This is why I have sided with the revolt, and I encourage you to do the same. May it be known that once our victory has been achieved, none of you will face reprisal. I, Prefect Elborn, hereby swear that anyone who supports the revolt, in word or deed, will obtain a rightful place in the newly transformed city of Anazote. The messengers return one by one, bringing back news that noble families have agreed not to stand in the way of the revolt. Only a few of them leave Elborn's appeal unanswered. The support of the nobles will be of great value in the critical hours of the confrontation. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the wall. Yeah, we're winning, technically.